Well, hello there. It is 4:28 a.m. on Saturday, May 11th, 2024. This is the week 19 update. I'm feeling good. I have been very focused on the sadhana. Um, the main thing actually that happened was that I had a full day where I focused entirely on it. And it was kind of something that I had been thinking about for a minute. I just wanted to prove to myself that I could do it, as like proof of concept. And I figured if I could do it one day, that's going to be the beginning of racking them up, days in a row. So, before I get into that, I have been sticking with the program. I do currently owe myself 2 sets and 4 posts, and I have used the extra cardio day trick again. On Monday, I didn't do much on Monday and Tuesday. Just basically took the days off, so one of those days was a cardio day. And that's why I have so many extra posts that I owe myself because I didn't post that day either. And that was pretty much because of, after school. There's always something about after I complete assignments. There's always like this rush or whatever. Back in the day, I probably would have drank, but there's just like a relief that happens that kind of leads to like an adrenaline dump, kind of. But I've been really like preoccupied by this beef between Drake and Kendrick Lamar. And I've been, it's like I can't not, is the crazy thing. I mean, I can obviously not, but it feels like it's so enticing to get new information as it comes out and becomes available, that I damn near, it's like I can't control myself. But essentially, I didn't talk about it last week, so I'll talk about it now. It got real for me, I'm a Drake fan, so I didn't want Drake to engage in anything with Kendrick Lamar. I felt like, it's just the same thing that it's been for the last couple of years, like the whole time. It's like, just, you're better off avoiding him because you don't want to give him free promotion. You're winning already because you sell more records than him and you're a rapper. So you don't need to fight him. It just doesn't make sense, and that's a beautiful position to be in. So now the way he was acting, he's being very aggressive, and it's like, oh, maybe he has, the word on the street is, he has some dirt, he has a bomb. And I'm completely down for ending Kendrick's career, that's for sure, because that guy has been very annoying to me. Like he's only been relevant because he says other people's names. To me, that's how I see it. So basically, I didn't want, but I was like, rooting for Drake from Jump Street. So it just got real very fast. Like basically, Drake was egging him on to respond, and like he had a bomb, and he was trying to go, he was trying to bait him into a trap essentially. And Kendrick responded, and it was like whatever, like it was a jab, it wasn't for me as a Drake fan. It was like, it was good, but you could already kind of see that there was like the Kendrick fans were thirsty. You could just tell like they were really ready to slob on Kendrick's knob like crazy. And I was already like, okay, just leave it alone. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need to go any further. Like, it's okay. Like, he didn't say anything that requires you to respond. Like, it's all good. Just leave it alone. And then it's like a bomb went off because he dropped what turns out to probably have been his bomb. And I mean, it was good. It was really good. When I listened to it the first time, I was like, oh shit, this is crazy. Maybe not what I expected, but it was like very serious, scathing, and like akin to what Push-Ups was essentially. But it was really well done. But it was basically preempted because it didn't get to have any momentum. It got stepped on by Meet the Grams. And I mean, that record from Jump Street, and everybody agrees, even the people that are fans of Kendrick are like, it hurts to listen to, so you don't want to listen to it again. It's like it's not, the replay value is not there. It has zero replay value at all. It sounds horrible. It's like traumatic, literally. So but it's even more scathing and more shocking than what Drake said. And there was like this whole thing about Drake potentially having a mole, and then I had my own theory that maybe the information he was getting was bad information. And whatever, because and people, I don't even think people understand exactly what's going on, because I'm like, the picture, I haven't seen the prescription, so maybe I'm the one that's mistaken, but people are saying that it was like, people were saying that Kendrick was in possession of a suitcase that was stolen from his dad, right? And the picture is like the stuff from inside of it. But I understood it to be a picture that he received from the mole that had the contents of had the picture of the stolen goods, is what it was. And or something like that. But what was interesting about the picture is that it had all of the relevant, like there was a lot of references to the song in that Drake put out on Family Matters. Like, it was a lot of like relevant items in there. So it's like, it's not, it's like, what I thought it was is it's not actually what, but it's either like because at first I'm like, oh, so he's just putting an assortment of things, and it's like, this is showing that I know what you're talking about in the song, and that's why I have this song ready to step on it. Super confusing. Anyway, so he stepped on it, kind of like ruined the momentum, and he just kind of remains, at that point he kind of took the lead as being up. And me and my brother had like a spirited conversation about it. And apparently he's a Kendrick fan. I don't know. I didn't know that. And I didn't realize, like, what I realize now is that this shit is essentially like politics. It got to the point of normally rap beefs and shit, you can kind of just talk about, oh, who's winning and the execution, like a sport kind of thing. But this is not that, though. This is not that at all. And I'll be 100% clear that it wasn't initiated by me and my side. The other side is they feel like they're behind a cause, and it's politically charged as racial stuff, and there's like, all this other character trait things they find fault with the character, shit like that. And it's like, oh, okay, I mean, that's interesting. And that's what this whole thing is going on about. And it's like, bro, people listen to rappers that murder people, you know what I mean? And like, you're talking about murder stuff, so the whole morality issue is like, whatever. It was just a very interesting thing. And I'm like, first of all, I'm not listening to Kendrick. That's not going to happen. But it's just the bias that showed itself. I've been referring to it like a swarm of cockroaches. They just came out of nowhere. Worms, fucking spineless, contradicting themselves in their own statements and shit like that. So that's what it felt like. And I got like in a little bit of a tiff with my brother because that was my first initiation to that issue. I was just talking to him about it like you would a sport. I'm like, yeah, Kendrick's up, blah, 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 blah. But he was like rubbing it in. You know what I mean? And celebrating it in a weird way. And then he wasn't acknowledging things that were like basic truths. And it's like, oh, this is like, you're like part of a fucking campaign. You're like evangelizing for fucking Kendrick Lamar. This is crazy. You know what I mean? And now I'm starting to get it, because they're like, oh, because they all think they stand for something, and they all want to be like, blah, 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 blah. That's like part of the message. You don't stand for anything. Blah, 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 blah. And it's kind of like the argument between Biggie and Tupac. And I always preferred Biggie style, period. Like, all this fucking whatever, no. I like listening to fly rap. I like listening to somebody brag, essentially. That's what I like. It sounds good to listen to. It feels good to listen to. That's what I like. So I don't want to, and it really, actually, I don't want to hear about fucking, like, especially, like, these people, it's kind of like LeBron or whatever. These people, they're pandering. They're just kind of saying what they think people want to hear. And it's like, it's disingenuous on top of just being like, and then if we don't agree, then it's just a whole nother, bag of worms. So it's like, it's one of those things. You don't need to talk about religion. You don't need to talk about politics, and you don't need to talk about, because all you're doing is making enemies, and it doesn't affect your day to day, how you move. So that's where this has gotten to. It's like, oh, it's like, I can't even. So, oh, okay, so now I'm a fucking, you know what I mean? Now I'm like, it's like people, it's really like left versus right. It's like, how the left-wing people are all like, oh, how you're immoral because you don't support their cause, and they try to shame you into it. They shame you, and then they try to bully you, and then they try to do all that shit. And it's the same fucking thing that's happening here. It's like, oh my God, in fucking rap. So I realized that, and I also realized, so it's like, okay, there's all's fair in love and war. These motherfuckers are just doing the most. He drops this banger ass track, right? The undeniable banger. Like, I don't think there's ever been a rap song that like this that's ever come out before, ever in the history of the universe. And and he's talking about fucking Drake being a pedophile in this fucking song, bro. He's talking about him being a freaky ass nigga. He's talking about him being, you know what I mean? Like, basically shaming him, trying to run him out of town, bro. And I have a lot of feelings about this because it feels kind of like what happened with Sean, right? When I was over there, he was just lying on me. Whatever it was, he was just lying on me. And but it felt like that, because I at the same time I was watching those like To Catch a Predator things, and like the freaking the way that I felt, including how the people were treating those people. It's like running them out of town. You know what I'm saying? Like, these people need to be destroyed. It's not like there's not a there's no sympathy. They need to be literally executed and tortured to be made an example out of, and all that other good stuff. So, and it's put me in a difficult situation, because at first I'm like, oh, they're just, of course you're gonna say that. What else are you gonna say? So you have to say that. And part of that is true, because, why are you saying, if you're so concerned about this, why are you saying it on a diss track? Why are you saying it for album promo, right? So that's true. But the fact that he used that in that way in this arena is fantastic, whether it's true or not. That's one. But for me as a Drake fan, it kind of nullifies it if it's untrue. So in the moment, yes, banger, you win the battle, right? It's believable enough. But long term, you lose credibility. I was thinking about it today. I was like, bro, this actually has to be true, because if it turns out you were just lying, then you're the worst kind of human being. Because one, you falsely accuse someone. It's kind of like accusing someone of rape and them not having done it. They should go to jail for doing that. And don't get it twisted. There's a lot of apparently there's a lot of people that want Drake to go away and go down. But unfortunately, the more I look into stuff, so far I've only found supporting evidence. I haven't found any reason. Oh damn! I haven't found any reason to whatchamacallit. So I've gone through this whole. It's kind of like denial. It's kind of like grief. It's literally like denial that this is. It's literally what it's like. It's like denial that this is true, and then it's like, oh my God, and it's like so where I'm at with it now is first of all, Kendrick won the battle. It really comes down to if it's true or not, right? Like, there's the moment, and then so you can call it the battle and the war if you want to. Like, there is a route out, because there could be a little bit of exaggeration or something like that, that's happening here. But basically, I'm at the point where I saw a Shane Gillis clip from 2019 where he was talking. He mentioned how they were gonna get Drake for exactly this, and he's got like a little bit of R. Kelly in him or whatever. He likes him young, apparently. And brother, that just changes everything, man. To me, honestly, it's like, why, bro? Why? I don't fucking understand. Like, and we're talking about like literally like 15, 16, 17-year olds, bro. Like, that's not acceptable. It's not acceptable. So, and then I already kind of like, I have evidence, reason to believe that he has a fucking, that the daughter is his. That's another thing. The reason why this is an issue at this point is because he's flat out lying. Now, I also thought about that. I'm like, well, it's like, why even, like, because he released a song, right? He, in response to this, he basically was denying allegations and trying to say, why are you, you know, why are you trying to, why are you so obsessed with this concept, you know? Which is a fantastic move. But we're not talking about that. So if we're talking about tactics and whatnot, you could argue that Drake's up right now. Sure, whatever. It's like, brother, we fed you fake information, you ran with it, and whatever. But now we're talking about this guy potentially having, oh my God, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to have this conversation. You know what I'm saying? I don't. It's just, to me, it's just like, how could you? You know, I just feel so I feel so disappointed. I'm just like, how could you move that way? How could you, first of all, like, cause I know people that, like, for instance, one of my aunts got pregnant before she was an adult, right? From someone who was an adult. And it's like, so everybody here knows that was foul, but that happened. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? And the man never went to jail or anything like that. Like, nothing happened. I had a friend, right, who what like I'm thinking it was either once or twice was in a relationship with like a 17-year-old as an adult. You know what I mean? I mean, like, as you know, 20 something. So like, this stuff, some people are like that, is what I'm trying to say. And this is why I didn't want to talk about this to this depth, but I have to. So what I'm trying to say is basically like, and then, you know, R. Kelly or fucking Michael Jackson, for instance, who are, you know, two prolific artists that I like specifically used to like a lot. And that's the thing, is like, I feel icky now. Like, why do I have these connections with these artists? Like, they're not like those. Michael Jackson's Michael Jackson, so that's kind of difficult. But it's not like I like really digged R. Kelly or anything like that. I did like Aaliyah though. So it's just like, traumed, essentially. But yeah, there's like talks of it. It's like semi-public that this guy fucking talks to, like, again, not like, is like, oh my God. Yeah. And it's like, for myself, I would never move that way. I can't imagine that. You know what I'm saying? But, oh God, I'm trying to, it's like, let me just put it like this: it's not the worst thing in the world. Um, to where I'm like basically burn him at the stake or whatever. But yeah, it's pretty much that. It's if it's not if it's like yeah, I can't, you know what I mean? And it's like this I can't I mean that's it for me. I can't even fucking listen to rap anymore, bro. It's fucking I mean, I was already pretty much not listening to him. Um you know, honestly, just from but he comes out with a new song that should be banger as fuck, bro. He's got some real classics, and it's a disappointing situation. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, how, and I've been trying to wrap my head around it, like, you know, this just can't be. You feel me? This can't be. But it is, and it's sad. So, it's like, man, could you follow the fucking law, bro? Like, literally, like, is like, sure, it might be weird if you fucking like, you know, like, if you're Leo DiCaprio or whatever, Leonardo DiCaprio or whatever, and you fucking, you know, you're like a lot of men who like, you know, early 20-year-old women. That's understandable. And a lot of people try to shame men for doing that, for being that way, and it's like, nah, that's, to me, that's relatively natural. And if someone is comfortable in their own skin enough to do that, and women are, and you know, willingly partaking, then there's not an issue there. But the motherfucker is over here, you know what I mean? Like, come on, man, that's just insane. I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't understand. And it's like, literally, it's like, how do you have the one thing? Like, how is it possible for me, who's been a Drake fan for my entire life, essentially, you know, entire adult life? That's probably like, you know, the first rapper, literally, just like literally, when I was young, he came out when I was very young, and I just always gravitated towards his music. Before, you know, he was the biggest thing in the world, I was there the whole time. So now, don't get it twisted. Um, it's still like the motherfucker. Now we get to the portion of, you know, like Chris Brown, blah 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 blah. But this shit's crazy though. You know what I'm saying? Like it like it's like you know, I still listen to R. Kelly, right? I'm not trying to stand up for that motherfucker though. You know what I mean? No, he's a fucking freak. He's a fucking freak. It's like, this man was out in public with a fucking 14, 15-year-old fucking, you know, girl singing about age ain't nothing but a number and shit. That man is crazy. You feel me? That shit's crazy. So yeah, and for me, when I listen to, I don't want to hear shit else. I didn't even want to hear the response, the last response. I'm like, bro, just fucking tap out. I've been wanting him to tap out the whole time. Just stay out of it, bro. Fucking making light skinned people look bad. The fuck is wrong with you? But that's where we're at now. It's like the worst time to be a Drake fan that could ever happen, and I have to make it clear that this is not okay. You know what I mean? Like, I'm the jury is still out, but unfortunately, with me doing my due diligence, everything like that is like not looking good, brother. Fucking not looking good. Blah blah blah. So that's kind of been something that's been preoccupying me, something that's been on my nerves, and it's been a long process to get to that point where I'm like, oh, this man actually might have an issue. I really hope it's not. I hope it's not. It kind of shifts. My perspective of him kind of shifts. Sometimes I'm like, man, nah, that's a bunch of bullshit. Maybe it's not as bad as you think, and maybe because personally, there's people to this day that believe that Michael Jackson did stuff, and there's people that believe he didn't. You know what I mean? And I'm just one of those people that has always, like there's people accuse people of stuff. You know what I mean? That happens, but like, just as of right now, it does not look good. So, and I'm trying to stay out of it, but it's very enticing to look into. And honestly, the other thing too is that so this whole six god thing and the owl and the being, Jewish, and he just recently got a contract that I think is the stem for a lot of why people are attacking him right now, is because his contract shows clear favoritism. And it's like, why did you get that contract? I mean, obviously you're the biggest artist in the world, but there's other issues. Then there's also the fact that it seems like this is the way you're moving is exactly how you would move if you wanted protection. Like, why not? Why even sign to a major when you can go independent? Why even do that? You feel me? And it's like, it's kind of like making yourself too big to fail, or you just have favors you need to pay off. You feel me? So like, he's like in with Nike, he's in with fucking UMG, and it's like, I have and they just invested $500,000 into this guy. So what makes you think they're gonna cut ties with him? Can they cut ties with him, like legally? Because if they can't, then the money is gonna go into protecting him at that point. And what if he actually did something wrong, or is doing something wrong? And what if they knew about it? What if that's part of the whole thing? And he mentioned that, like Kendrick mentioned that in both songs. Like, if you look at it, he's like the whole six thing, the like everything about it. I mean, and then if you look at like people around him, certain people that get the stamp, like recently, what's his name? Aiden Ross, for instance. Aiden Ross and Sexy Red recently. Kai Cenat. Like, when these people get the endorsement, they get the endorsement in capital letters. And people like Kanye, which is like the other side. It's like Kanye and these other people. It's like, okay. But then again, Kanye has had issues too. Kanye's been... So it's like, from that perspective, it doesn't look good either. It's like, there's just this level of like, okay, I've seen this person grow from nothing, right? He seems like a relatively reasonable, shrewd, respectful, kind of, you know, guy. But there's the issue of the zesty behavior. I mean, this is all happening at once. You have the sixth thing, which that's an issue already. The owl. It's like if he was trying to signal to the people in the music industry what he's about, those would be the signs you would use. Like, and then now this, bro. Oh, come on, man. You have every badge of a fucking demonic entity, essentially. And it's like, oh man, this is just a shit show. So, I need to know where I'm at. So, yeah. Which my solution to this is just gonna be like, well, I have to let anybody that, like, the only person that I've had a conversation with is Noah about this, and I'm glad I haven't really made many public opinions about it, but essentially I'm just gonna be like, I'm not trying to stand by Drake. That's just not gonna happen anymore. Like, it's almost to the point now where it's like, so when he came out with if you're reading this, it's too late. It was one of my favorite albums, like, from Jump Street. Actually, even still now, like, when it comes to just songs, those are probably some of my favorite songs that he did. Like Six Man, Jungle, Legend, 10 Bands. And it turns out that that he had essentially a ghostwriter, not really a ghostwriter, but like, he was using somebody else's, well, like, songs. People were making him songs for him, and that changed my perspective on that album. It literally, after that it put a bad taste in my mouth. After that, hearing that, I'm like, oh well, now I can't listen to this album. And sometimes I'll play it, but it just didn't get as much play as it would have had it actually either the wool remained pulled over my eyes, or that it was actually genuinely his. So now, with this, it's like, well, I'm not gonna, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna be trying to hear him, essentially. Like, every time I hear it. Now, he'll probably get put in that same category as, like, Michael Jackson, which, yeah. Michael Jackson gets the benefit of the doubt. I wasn't around when he was doing all that, so I don't really know. But like, I don't play, like, a bunch of R. Kelly anyway, but, like, I still play stuff by him occasionally. That's where it'll go. It's just like, okay, I am no longer a super fan. I'm not gonna fucking, I already wasn't, though, to be honest with you. Like, I haven't listened to For All the Dogs. I haven't listened to Honestly Nevermind. I haven't listened to, I don't know if there's more than that, but I definitely haven't listened to those two. So, like, It's just whatever gets popular on the radio or whatever kind of comes across my desk that I end up, vibing to. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much a wrap. So back to what. So that's what's been, kind of preoccupying me in my spare time. I might even just click that out and make that like a separate thing because that's how long it took. But from there, it inspired a couple. It inspired a song, and actually I've been like I guess I kind of was recording at a faster clip, as a result of being like thinking about music and whatnot. It seems like there is a implosion happening in terms of with rap in general, because yeah, it's just like eating itself essentially, or at least the people at the very top are. So it's making room for your boy, and that's something that I don't know. I'm keeping an eye on. So I've been making kind of songs inspired by that. I made one called Post War, and I made one called Roll It Up. I found a more efficient way to do free views with a website that has something that you can, you could do custom numbers in terms of like views, subs, likes, comments, and stuff like that, which is exactly what I wanted. I'm also considering getting a like investing in BandLab presets, and potentially they have like a premium service, I guess. So I'm thinking about investing in that because they have a lot of these tools that you could use. I have pretty much decided that I am not ready to do more just yet. I've been focusing on like the TRW or Hold My Hand Wholesale. I've been completely focused on Sadhana. That is, I want to, you know what I'm saying? And until further notice, that's going to be my focus. It's that, and then the only other thing that I have to do is schoolwork. And we're gonna go ahead and include the motivational clips and the sets as part of it. Meaning of part of sadhana. It's just part of it. That's what I do. The motivation is good. The hypnosis and the exercise is good. Then food, eating proper foods is also kind of a form of that, if you want to call it that. So really it's just like sadhana, school, that's it. And if I am able to do well in school, that'll essentially fund, it'll get me escape velocity, like right at this moment, we're looking at 9K in hand this year, right? And that kind of, on top of like potentially credit lines, that kind of number would be enough for me to get to a position of like, being wherever I want to be, whether that's in San Francisco or otherwise, and with the van and all that good stuff. So for now it's just like, just focus on school, and sadhana, and because what it is school allows me to do sadhana. Sadhana is the most important thing, and that's it. Feel me? So I'm gonna have motion. I'm gonna have motion in the very near future. The worst thing I could do is add more to my plate, and I'm also considering, like in terms of monthly overhead, I'm also considering not purchasing the weights right now just because I was listening to the last week's update, and when I mentioned the whole getting the weights, I'm like, man, that just feels horrible. I mean, it just doesn't, just that amount to spend on that is really crazy. But as of right now, I will be doing that. But basically, it's just the cleanest, simplest form is like school and sadhana. Whether I'm here, and I can do school anywhere, so it's like I'm free. I have enough funds to take care of, even if I get the weights, I still have enough funds to take care of what I need to take care of. And it's like, just do school and do sadhana, and you'll be straight. And then, anything else is just, that's like the basis. Everything else stems from that spot. So, like journaling, the vlogging, the streaming, making music, all that stuff is decisions that I've made about what I want to add on top from essentially boredom. But it's like something that, whoa, shit, chill. It's essentially something, that was creepy. It's essentially something that, yeah, they're moving weird. It's essentially something that I could do without disturbing sadhana, basically. So, or potentially, that's the hope. I have been working with ChatGPT a lot. There's been, I created kind of a prompt that kind of creates the ideal conversation starter. It's basically what it's going to be. It hasn't gotten there yet. It's going to be a collection of assumptions / conclusions I've come to with while collaborating with ChatGPT, essentially. So asking certain questions, I've gotten answers. I've gotten to a point where I have a certain understanding, so I don't want to have to reestablish those things within new chats, because they seem to have shortened the length the chats can be, which is kind of sus. But yeah, I don't want to have to reestablish all these prerequisites. It's like I could just kind of give it a summary, essentially, of where we're currently at, and then build on that. And I've been wanting to have a biblical basis for it, and I was able to kind of construct that very quickly. So that's nice. I didn't put this in my notes, but I've also been drawing a little bit. Because as part of the whole sadhana thing, I've been trying to cut out specifically tarot videos, but ideally I wouldn't be watching this beef shit, and I wouldn't be essentially anything with any type of conflict is kind of what I'm trying to avoid. I want it to be, it's very childlike and innocent. Just very light is what I'm going for. So now the issue with that is that it can be boring. It's not as interesting. It's not as magnetic. It doesn't capture your attention as fast. So I'm having to find a combination of things, and I'm in the process of basically what's it called, populating a playlist of different music and things to watch and whatnot, to keep me entertained that is free of that conflict. And that just kind of led me to this, like I have the Bible next to me, I could read that. If I'm going to read anything, I could read the Bible. And then also, like kind of flip to a random page and, you know, read a verse from it, and then there's drawing. So, that's also something that I could do. So yeah, it's basically like the idea is to smile stim and do sessions, and obviously you can't just sit there. I mean, you can, but I'm trying to make it as pure as possible. But there's that little bit of like, well, I need something to keep my mind occupied. Even if it's in, it doesn't always have to be something. You can turn stuff off. It doesn't always have to be something. But like, when you're bored, you don't want to just like fall asleep and torture yourself. So it's like, I'm going to put something on. What is the thing going to be? And whereas a lot of people put on like reality TV shows with like bleeping out curses every 5 seconds, or like a dramatic television show with like blood and gore or whatever like that, I'm trying to avoid all that. So that's where the whole Ram Dass shit came in last couple weeks ago. But I've been watching a lot of like ASMR shit and like just random, like there's this like playthrough of Pokemon on Twitch where the people like watching are controlling the Pokemon run, and it's like there's no talking, it's just the game sounds. That was on. I had that on. I have like a driving on the highway like thing on. I've been watching blackjack videos, listening to a lot of music, definitely that, singing, those types of things. I don't know how true this is, but I like how it sounds. And this is kind of how my mind has always thought of this. Because people, there's like, I recently learned, right, that there is a difference because of school, I learned that there is a difference in how the body reacts to learning certain things, right? So it's very nuanced. You can't just be like, with drugs, for instance, right? There's philosophical implications for if you were to extrapolate what happens to the brain when you do drugs, right? You do a drug, the brain compensates by counteracting the drug, and thus you're just kind of at equilibrium. You're going to stay at equilibrium, thus you need to take more of the drug, and blah, 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 blah. Some people believe that like you need to do dopamine cleanses and stuff like that to, and that there's theories out there of like the degenerative nature of like pleasure on the brain, right? That it causes damage. I've never felt that way. I've felt that if anything, it's the same thing. The way I see it is people get depressed because they repeatedly think a certain way, right? If you think negatively, like some people say depression isn't real or whatever, but like it is real. But what it is it is the momentum of negative neurological states. Every time you're in a neurological state, you're essentially practicing that. It becomes more ingrained, more and more of an ingrained pattern. So if you're practicing, quote unquote, thinking about negative things and being depressed and wanting to kill yourself, the more you do that, the more you're going to want to do that. And the better you get at that, essentially. To eventually it becomes depression to where you can't will your way out of it because your brain is now adapted and adept at being depressed. it doesn't produce the chemical, the desirable chemicals. You might not have the receptors, something like that, right? So what I've recently, through a conversation in ChatGPT, for some reason it came to my mind to ask, if it's possible to, again, increase your propensity to joy, happiness, and love, right? When you smile, it starts a chain reaction. It's a positive feedback loop, and like an intentional smile makes you happier, makes it easier to smile, and that goes on and on and on and on and on. And it changes your brain states. So you are practicing being happier, you become better at being happier. It becomes more of a natural thing, and the same way that it would work if you were to become depressed, at some point you can't control yourself. You are just happy, joyful, and feel a feeling of love. This is a contagious thing because because of mirror neurons and empathy and things of that nature. There's a whole like scientific explanation for it, right? So where we are now is the practices that I keep mentioning that are part of the sadhana, which is a spiritual practice, is what it's going to do is it's going to release desirable neurochemicals, right? And by doing that, it's not the same as drugs. So there's not like, oh, you can only, achieve so much happiness in life, right? Newton's third law or whatever. People extrapolate fucking, energy cannot be created or destroyed to fucking the yin yang, which is, again, this is all demonic. Yin yang, and then they basically say what's good is bad and what's bad is good, and 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 that just applies everywhere. So yeah, you could whatever, but your brain's gonna adjust. That's not how it works. Your brain is going to go through neurogenesis. It's going to essentially, like a muscle, it's going to become more good at producing the positive neurochemicals, and also better at making use of those neurochemicals with receptors. And you could think of it like a fucking bush. You are essentially a bush. You're watering / giving sunlight to your brain, which is becoming a flourishing love bush, essentially. And because of the internal state that you are practicing, now you are a contagion in the society in which you live. That wow, I need to preach this shit. In which you live, that is a positive one. That's it. So that's a little bit more of a scientific perspective of exactly what I was talking about a couple weeks ago. But yeah. Fun fact: I got locked in the bathroom. That was really, really crazy. I just used the bathroom regular, and what's crazy too is I didn't have my phone on me. I left my phone. I just went to go take a piss or something, and I don't know exactly what happened, but for some reason I left my phone. My phone wasn't on me, so I got locked in there, and I didn't have my phone, which is really crazy. Because if I had my phone, I wouldn't have gave a damn. I was just chilling here for a little bit while people figure out how to get me out. But so I don't even have my phone. So basically, I locked the door, and I unlocked the door, but the knob was not it was turning, but it wasn't moving the latch. So we had to break myself out. We had to take the knob off, and I had to use a butter knife to pry the door open. That was a fun experience. I'll never forget that. Because it was like, I think the door was closed. The light was off at one point. Like I turned the light off before I tried to open the door. So I basically, I don't know, I was just claustrophobic, and I was like, oh, bro, I'm trapped. Like, there's no windows. This is just, this is in the middle of the house. And this door isn't letting me out. And I could bust it open if I don't want to break the door. And it's like, I didn't want to I had to stay calm, bro. I was like, okay, I'm not going to go crazy. First things first, stay calm, right? Knock, get help, and be like, look, I don't want to break the door, right? So in lieu of breaking the door, let's try to get it open with the least amount of damage. And that was the whole perspective. And we got it. It wasn't that bad, but the relief when the door actually opened was pretty nice. So back to the whole sauna thing. I wanted to do I've been kind of thinking about it. I've been wanting to do a full day of sauna. I was like, one full day of just remaining focused entirely on it, the entirety of the time, right? And this is the day that I came up with the whole neurogenesis thing, which is beautiful. This was yesterday. So, I was just smiling, stimming, and doing sessions, kind of naturally, seeing how it would go. And I focused on it for 16 hours straight. And then it was kind of like an experiment. I'm like, okay, so I can do that. That's one. And two, I kind of established how a schedule would work doing that. So on top of coming up with the whole like neurogenesis theory and being, I don't know how much of that is a theory or whatever, but the whole idea, the whole concept, the way of thinking about it, because we already have the spiritual perspective. I like the neurological perspective as well. So physical perspective. ChatGPT loves to talk about how physical exercise, meditation, and a good diet. I'm like, yep, I'm on that. I'm already doing that. That's also part of it. But I established a nice routine. It kind of naturally happened. So there was a natural, okay, so I'm sitting there. I'm trying to just stay in a kind of somewhat of a meditative state, listening to, pleasant and not too distracting and not too, deep things. And then, maintaining a positive internal state for as long as possible. And eventually that worked up into, okay, now I want to do a session, right? So cool. I noticed that it took about 4 hours to do that, right? Which there are in your waking hours, there's 4-hour segments. So I'm like, oh, interesting. Now I didn't just immediately I didn't just immediately okay, I'm gonna start looking at the clock and the fuck was that, bro? A bug just hit me. I'm not gonna start looking at the clock and doing things based on the clock. I was just going by feel. But it's roughly every 4 hours. If I did that, right, what would happen is if I did a set in a session, or no, if I did a set in a post right when I got up, right, then 4 hours set post, 4 hours set post, 4 hours set post, 4 hours set post. ending each one with a session, right? So it's like you go into you start by just kind of getting yourself into a meditative state, building up the momentum, and then you have that major burst of love energy, if you will. And then after that, you just do a post, do a set, grab some food, go for a walk, right? Come back, do it again. In positive internal state up to the most positive internal state, and then doing that again, right? And then in those beginning stages, right? Or just kind of as seen fit, just do some reading or do some schoolwork. In those 4-hour periods between the sessions. Anyway, it ends up working out to where you do your five sets, your 3 to 5 posts. You eat 4 meals. You have 4 sessions. And you complete roughly 16 hours of sadhana all at the same time. So that was quite a nice discovery. Now I'm still kind of trying to. I just realized that would happen, but I need to more trial and error. Essentially, I'm trying to go by feel still. So that day I did like 3 posts and 3 sets. Actually, it really was like I did 4. But and it wasn't like every 4 hours. It was like every 5 to 6 hours, which is a big difference. Just basically going willy-nilly, focused primarily on sadhana. And what was I saying? Today is more kind of also willy-nilly, kind of all over the place. But I just kind of had that idea. Now, also, this idea fits nicely with weed as well. Because roughly, the high from weed would last about 4 to 5 hours. So it's like, it allows for, it's like, okay, take a toke now, go chill out. And then right around the time where it should be wearing off, you're ready to work out anyway. So you're not in that lazy. It's like earn the next hit, essentially. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, now go do a set. Now you do the set, then you get to take another hit and do it again. Is essentially how it would work. Also, you could eat in between there. And that's kind of how I feel like it's probably going to go. But we're still trying to figure that out. We're still trying to figure out the whole thing. They're going fast. But I'm trying to avoid it. Now, by the way, let me tell you something. The day after today, I only went to bed because I was very sleepy, because I really needed to do some schoolwork. But it felt like, in hindsight, it felt like I was high. So I don't want to involve chemicals. I think that just kind of complicates the situation for myself. You could see it as like maybe like a training wheel or a crutch that would make it very easy, you know what I mean, to kind of, or easier to kind of be in those states. But I'm not excited. I'm not really excited. It's like, I don't know if it's a PED or if it's gonna, I don't know exactly. Like, I know for sure without it that everything I'm doing is positive. You feel me? But including it, I don't know how much that hurts me for how much it's going to help. So, no doubt I'll definitely probably be getting some soon. Like it's on the list. Like I'm gonna be probably setting myself up with a nice efficient way of doing that. And then if not, like I don't have to do it like a factory every 4 hours, but it's an option that I could throw in. And that's kind of how I think I do want to have that option. Okay, so now we're kind of more along the lines of what we're going to be doing next week. So I need to enroll in summer 2. I need to figure out what's good with my student loans because they're still saying, I'm still receiving emails that it's not getting paid. I'm like, well, it should be getting deferred because I'm in school right this second. So I need to get some clarification on why that's working the way it's working. I have a couple classes in the next couple days. I have an Umar live stream that's tomorrow, which by the way, I'm still in like all of the rooms that I was in when I was paying the monthly. So turns out that was probably a good move. And then Mansa is having a class on Saturday, so I need to be there for that. And also Christopher Hauser has been talking about some interesting things. So a bunch of sovereign kind of information to come, more than likely. Also, I need to figure out what the fuck is going on with my arbitration because it just feels like we're moving forward. I'm like, bro, I really wasn't expecting having to like actually argue this shit. Like I really expected to settle. So I'm hoping I can kind of get that question off to Brother Umar tomorrow. But yeah, they haven't. Nothing. I got an email that I haven't really looked at, but it just looks like we're still moving forward. There's nothing that needs to get done, but just information about what the arbitrator is going to be and how the procedures are going to go, essentially. And it's like, what? Why are we still moving forward, bro? It's been like 3 months. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I also need to figure out my website solution because GoDaddy tried to charge my fucking card this month, bro. Shady ass shit. They really should not have been trying to do that. Because what's it called? It's supposed to renew next month. They tried to get my ass, bro. So I need to communicate with them. I need to know what it's going to cost if I renew. And I need to know... I also recently realized that you can host websites on Google Pages or GitHub. And I already have the domain. And I also designed the website already. So it's like, if I could just download the website and host it with GitHub, I'm sure there's a workaround that could probably be free. I don't even need to use the same website. I can make another one for free and host it, elsewhere. So I need to figure out what I'm going to do with that. Also, my phone, not sure what's going on with that right now. So that's another thing I need to kind of keep in mind. By the way, the whole sadhana thing, it's like, when it's interesting because it's like, okay, I'm in a positive state or whatever, it seems like I naturally kind of gravitate towards doing the things that need to be done. There's a quote that says, do nothing and nothing is left undone. Another interesting quote is, if you want to lead the orchestra, you have to turn your back on the crowd. It's just a random quote that I also liked. Not in my notes. I remembered that from memory. So yeah, I'm not concerned. It's still, like I said, school and sadhana. But these are just some things that we'll revisit next week. Speaking of that, the whole like going with the flow and kind of finding things to do that need to get done. I had an idea to look up business banks that do pre-approvals for business credit cards, and I have a few have a list of a few. And yeah, I'm gonna probably do one for Truist as well soon too. I don't know if I'm gonna do it with the guy that I spoke with over the phone or if I'm gonna do it myself, but that's also on tap. There's also a personal credit card with Capital One that I might be eligible for. So, finally, the sunflowers. Man, I was concerned about them. There was a little bit of wilting happening one day. I've been trying not to overwater them, and I think I might have overdone that. It's like, I'm just kind of learning how much water they like. There was a day where I came out and it's like, oh, these look like they're dying, bro. They were so wilted. They were leaning over at the very top. I have where like the leaves kind of split open and then another part comes out the middle of it. The last little leg was very limp and drooping, and I was so concerned. So I watered them to Timbuktu and back. And to my surprise, the day after, I think it might have been the day I was meditating super hard, they came back to life. Also, by the way, there was some correlations with that day where I was focused on sadhana with positive outcomes that were seemingly not in my control with like social media and family and whatnot. So yeah, that's about it. I played a couple games of Stormgate here and there. 2 or 3 games of Stormgate, just full macro with Celestials. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, this is already way too fucking long. Let me see exactly how long it is. Hour and 17 minutes. Damn. It's all because of the Drake beef shit. But it's a once in a lifetime type of thing, and it might be the last time I care about something like that. So my grades are good, by the way. I got 100 in one class and like an 85 in the other class, so it's pretty much exactly what I want, A's and B's. And I think I could definitely keep it up. So yeah, that's about everything. I'm excited. I really just want to, again, focus on sadhana and school. And I think doing that will create a situation where the best outcomes for everything else take place as well, and it gets handled in the best way possible. So I love you. I appreciate you listening to me. This is week 19. We just getting started, baby. Deuces.